Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review. And in this video, we'll be assembling Eaglemoss's Nissan R35 GTR. This is issue number 4. In issue number 4, we have 4 packs. With this one video, we're going to do pack number 11. So number 11 will be coming up. I'll show you guys all the parts and we'll assemble the issue. Number 11 comprises of the right rear suspension components, and that's these right here. We'll take these out. We'll get a closer look at these components. There's a little trick to doing these because there's nuts and bolts that are real small, and I'll show you guys how to work your way around that so it's not so hard to assemble. So with that, I hope everybody's doing well out there with the virus that's hitting the world. I just hope everybody that watches my channel is doing okay and you're staying away from this virus as much as possible. Do yourself a favor, wash your hands a lot, and just stay healthy. With that, I'm trying to get caught up on all my videos here, so you've probably noticed an accelerated upload of videos, and that's for you. Right now everybody's home, teleworking. My wife is a nurse. She has to go to work. My daughter's out of school, and I'm sure everybody's kind of in the same boat as we are. And I'm giving you more videos so you can take your mind off everything and watch what I'm doing here. So if you haven't subscribed to this car, it's fantastic. I think you would really like it. I mean, the lights light up, the engine makes sounds and all that. So it's got a lot of features. Plus, it's so big and huge. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started on pack 11. So I'll be right back. Welcome back. Here's the magazine for issue 4, and with this, remember, we're going to look at pack 11 and we're going to assemble pack 11. So let's look through the magazine here real quick and we'll see how it's broken down. The table of contents, of course, starts off with the GTR story. Next we have Mechanics Factory. After that we have Racing Legend, and then next to that is How to Build. That's where we have all our assembly instructions for all 4 packs. And then we have a Spotlight On. So let's proceed on here. And like I was saying, if you haven't subscribed to this, I put a link in the description below where you can click on, and US customers can get Class A service from Eaglemoss. It's a fantastic car, and it's going to be a fun build, and you can follow along with me as I go along through these builds. Moving on, then we can see the magazine takes us through the 2005 Tokyo Motor Show. Revealed at last the new generation Nissan GTR. Okay, so unveiled the production prototype and the GTR Proto. Next after that, an impact to match the Nissan GTR name and the unmistakable silhouette. The next article is about the GTR Proto. 90% there in production car design terms. And like we were saying, this dates back to 2005 for this car. We have 4 pages of that, so they show you how the aerodynamic devices still in development as part of this car. And then Mechanics and Factory. So these are very good articles here, getting to the mechanical aspects of this car. So with this, they talk about the lateral wet and dry sump system, crossover return system, and the turbo scavenger system. Then they get into what we call the clean room. which they use air pressure to pressurize the room to keep all the dust and debris out. And then Racing Legend, we get into the R35 GTR opened the 2008 Super GT series with a show of strength, but it was soon hit with severe penalties. So a great article on that. And then we get into Pack 11. Pack 11, we assemble the rear left suspension, and they show us all the parts that are included here and the assembly instructions for that. Moving all the way to step 5. Okay, so with Pack 12, 13, and 14, I'll show you those in the next videos. And lastly, we have an article on how to build the underside diffuser aerodynamics, article on that. Then they talk about the Nissan Type 70 from 1938, which I think is pretty cool. They give us some history on the Nissan passenger cars. So with that, then they give us a preview of what we're going to be receiving with Pack 5, or Issue 5. So let's get the parts out for Pack 11. Be right back. Here's the parts for Pack 11. And if you'll give me a minute, I'll take these out. We'll get a closer look at them. We'll identify them. And we will get started on assembling this issue. Once again, we're assembling the left rear suspension, and we've already completed the right rear suspension in a previous issue. So let's look at these parts. We have the upper mount for the shock. We have the lower mount. We have the spring coil. We have the knuckle base. We have the upper join. We have the lower toe strut bar. That's the long one. We have the lower toe strut bar short. We have the lower sway bar. We have EM screws and nuts. And we have DM screws. I'll be right back. So the first step we do for Pack 11 is we assemble the shock strut, and simply will get inserted, and then the way we lock it in place, we twist it, and then the spring tension will keep it locked. So first thing we do is we load it up with the spring. Then we're going to have to push in on it, twist, turn, and that is your strut. The next step, we're going to assemble the upper join and knuckle base. And if you'll see here, the knuckle base looks like that. We're going to join it just like that. Okay, just like that. Want to make sure this reinforced edge is on top, just like that. So when it closes down, it's just like that. Now they want us to put our nut in, or I think our nut has to go in on this side over here. We'll need our wrench from our previous issue, and we'll put that on our nut. Just like before, I'm going to use some Scotch tape to hold the nut in place. Just makes it a lot easier. Just like that. Now to make things easier, I'm going to install this on a pan of ice. Get this right here on a pan of ice. That way I can free up some hands. We put this in like that. Put our screw in. Just a little bit. There we go. And that is on. Put our shock absorber on, just like that. Just need a little patience here. Put the nut in place. And hope we get it lined up. Got it. And we'll just tighten that down a little bit. Perfect. So make sure your strut is on the outside of this. Next we're going to install the lower tow bars. We're going to install the short one first, then the long one after that. Same thing, we need the EM screws and nuts. So the short one I have in my hand here, will actually go on this one right here. So we'll feed the nut in, feed the screw in, just like that. And we can pretty much just hold the nut with our hand while we screw it in. To get it started. I'll use the wrench to tighten it later. Now we'll install the longer one the same way. EM screw, just like that. And we'll put our nut on it. We'll use our wrench for this. And we got both in. We'll just tighten them down a little bit. It does help having a device, like a third set of hands. And if you wanted to put a drop of Loctite on them, would not hurt. And our last step for pack 11 is to install this sway bar, and it's actually going to go right down on top of that, just like such. And in this case we're going to put a screw into metal. We're going to be using a DM screw, so we'll go ahead and lubricate that hole a little bit with this little applicator tip. Okay, we'll get this piece inserted. We'll get the screw started. and there we go. Nice and tight. Sway bar is all hooked up. We'll go ahead and recap everything we did in stage 11. We assembled the shock strut, which was fairly easy to do. Then in step 2, we added the upper join to the knuckle base, and that's this right here. Very fiddly there with the nut. You have to be very patient and careful when trying to get that nut inserted in there. Then in step 3, we add the combined upper mount, coil spring, and stroke to the knuckle base. So basically we installed the shock strut. Same thing there, it's hard to get that nut in place. You got to be very patient with that. Then in step 4, we add the lower toe strut bars, the long and short, to the knuckle base. This being the short one, and that was fairly easy to do. And then this being the long one, and that was also very easy to do too. Step 5, we attach the lower sway bar to the knuckle base, and that's this right here, and that was very easy to do. So that completes issue 4, stage 11. And something new that Eaglemoss did is they did magnetize these nuts. They weren't magnetized before, but if I magnetize my wrench, then I can get the nuts to stay on my wrench, just like that. So that's nice to know. Or you can use the tape method like I did to install these. So if you haven't done so already, head over to Eaglemoss and order your copy. I put a link in the description below. Also, if you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like, and hit the bell for all updates. With that, I want everybody to stay safe out there. Happy modeling. Take care.